I'm Julie Hernandez. My husband, Maynardo, and I work in Bible translation. Oh, I decided that I wanted to be a missionary seriously when I was in college.
Did you go to a Christian college?
No, I went to a secular college.
So what was the stimulus?
I went to Urbana.
Okay.
And at Urbana,
I've heard that many times.
Yeah, I learned about Bible translation, and so then I came to Mexico on just a short-term summer project with Wycliffe and fell in love with it. And I started taking linguistics classes in college, loved it, and just felt like there's nothing else I want to be doing. This is how God has wired me. This is what I'm passionate about. What else is there to do? My husband, he has a long story. He's from an Indian village. He didn't speak Spanish growing up as a child. Missionaries came to his village to do Bible translation. And his parents died at a young age, and so they kind of took him under their wing. And he was raised from the age of 13 participating in Bible translation. Then he went on to college and studied to be a dentist. And when he finished, he was planning on opening his practice of being a dentist. And somebody said to him, you know, there are a lot of dentists in this world, but there are very few people who know how to translate the Bible. And there's a huge need. And so, you know, he weighed his options at that point and said, I love translating the Bible, and I love giving people God's Word. That's what I want to be doing. And so he put his dentistry career aside and began working full-time in Bible translation, helping other language groups have the Word in their language. He saw how God's Word transformed his own community. Well, I've been at OCS since my son started first grade, which was 7 years ago. I've been in Oaxaca now for just almost 20 years. We're sent by Wycliffe Bible Translators. My husband is a mother tongue speaker of an Indian language here in Mexico, and he completed the New Testament in his own language, and now we're supporting other related languages as they translate their New Testament. I came as a single to work in Bible translation. I'm a linguist, and met my husband down here, and we were married. Now we have 4 kids. The oldest just turned 13, and the youngest is 3. 3 of them are currently attending OCS. I'm a linguist by trade. What I love doing is studying languages, helping develop languages and writing systems. We have a huge backlog of linguistics and literacy materials that I would like to be working on, because my husband focuses 100% of his time on translation. But I haven't had the opportunity of doing much with that, mostly because of my kids' educational needs. They're here at OCS, and this is a huge blessing because I don't have to be homeschooling them. But I did actually homeschool my daughter 1 year because they didn't have a teacher for 3rd grade that year. So that was, you know, that absorbed most of my time. And then last year I had to teach physics, even though I hadn't thought about physics in 20 years, and I had to pretty much write a curriculum because we had a brand new textbook that hadn't been used before. It's only taught every other year.
Okay.
So the previous year it had been taught by a retired engineer who was here to volunteer in the school.
Okay.
And then the in-between year there was nobody to teach it because there wasn't a need. And then again, it was year before last, they needed me to teach it. And I loved it, and I think I did a good job, but it was a huge investment of my time. There weren't any other options. I mean, I wasn't teaching any of my own kids, but because, you know, my kids attend here and other parents are helping teach my kids, I wanted to be able to help also. It was a hard year though, because, you know, I still had a baby at home at that point, and so my husband also was having to care for the baby when I was teaching physics instead of working with the guys from the village that we're working with. So, as my youngest is still at home, and so that's always she takes up a lot of my time and energy. But I do want to be supporting my husband in Bible translation and in producing literacy materials. And a lot of my friends from my years of training and stuff, their kids' education is a big reason why they have to return to the U.S. They have to return. They can't be on the field still because, they just don't have the heart or the skill or whatever needed to homeschool their kids, or there's no missionary school available. We're really blessed here in Oaxaca that we do have a school, but it does a lot of times require a lot of our time. I think, there are always different statistics about the number one reason why people leave the field, but I know anecdotally from my colleagues and from my friends around the world, the number one reason why missionaries leave the field is for their children's education. And so missionary teachers who come to teach missionary kids, it's such a huge need. It's a massive and major part of the Great Commission, because it enables parents to do the work that God has called them to do. They're definitely part of the body of missionaries. They're so needed, and I'm so grateful for the teachers who have come in their retirement to come and teach our kids, or who have said, I've paid off my loans and I need to go on the field. I need to go help teach missionary kids. I'm so grateful for all the teachers that we have here who are doing that.